Hi, this is Rekha, and I'm Gabby. Join us all summer long as we're on the hunt for local businesses and amazing hidden gems in our beautiful cities of Edmonton and Fort McMurray, which this totally isn't. Tune in, because this is RNG in the 780.
Hi guys, this is Rekha from RNG in the 780, and today we are in our day 3 of Fort McMurray. We're talking to Girls Inc. with Nanase and Natalia, and they're going to give us some amazing insight into what Girls Inc. is and what they do for their community. Thank you guys for coming out today.
Thanks for having us.
Yes,
Thank you for reaching out and connecting.
Of course, yeah. Like, there's no way we can't talk to such a great presence in the community, especially when it comes to taking care of our youth and making sure that our girls are growing up safe and happy and strong, right? So, can you guys tell us a little bit about what Girls Inc. does exactly?
Sure. Girls Inc. is an organization, actually the only nonprofit organization in Buffalo region to provide a gender-specific programming to inspire all girls to be strong, smart, and bold.
Awesome. And how did Girls Inc. come to be exactly?
So we started off back in 1979 as a Wood Buffalo Big Sister Society first. And there was a time where we, had a conversation to become a big part of the organization that would do rather more so a co-ed type of a work. And that's when our previous executive director, Andor McLean, was able to really stand up and fight for it and say, advocate the need for gender-specific programming, because we know that the girls will go through unique challenges differently, and every single girl's experiences are different. So we wanted to have a safe space that's more so pro-girl space for girls to be available in this region. And that's when we became affiliated to Girls Inc. back in 2004. And that's how we became to be. And this is 2022 now, so
yes.
Right, long time.
A very long time. Yeah, definitely. That's a lot of work and advocacy to be doing for at least 2 or 3 decades now, I guess, since originally,
It
right?
is, right? Yeah.
That's quite a long time at that point, yeah. How do people get to, how do people get to enroll in your programs, and how do they, reach out to you?
So they can reach out on any of the usual platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We have LinkedIn as well. Or our website has basically all of our emails on there. But for programs specifically, we do a seasonal program registration. So summer, spring, fall, and winter, we'll have a new round of programs. Sometimes there's the same program, sometimes there's different programs. We have unique workshops. So really, it's just finding out where that form is. It's always on the register a girl page on our website. But if you had questions, you can call the office, you can email us, you can message us on social media, and we'll be able to answer any questions.
Oh wow, that's very easily accessible at that point then.
Mm-hmm.
That makes it easy for people who may not even know how to, navigate a lot of websites or anything like that, and it's much easier to just do a private message at that point too. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So for folks at home, why do you think it's extremely important for an organization like this to have presence in their community?
There are a few reasons we believe that we exist and why we do what we do, I guess. But one of the greatest things, and it became even more clear the past 2 to 3 years, obviously going through the COVID-related challenges, as well as here in this community, we had so much going on, from flooding to the natural disasters to related impacts that came out of it. What we had realized, though, is that we are really committed to work towards diversity, equity, and inclusion. And when we say all girls, we mean all girls. And that's really what we really stand for. And the belief in the fact that every girl can value their whole selves and discover their inherent strengths and also achieve their own goals. Like those are the kind of three things that we really hope that our organization can bring out of girls if this organization were to stay and be sustained. So that really is the whole existence of why we do what we do.
Oh, wonderful. And you mentioned something about equity, right? So what does that mean to Girls Inc.? What does equity mean to you guys?
There are, again, like different ways of kind of going about it, but one good analogy would be the fact that here we started off on this bar, and then when we talk about the equality, sure, you get to the same level eventually, but how though, and then what kind of resources available, and what kind of challenges there are that every single girl will go through differently. Those are the kind of key things that we address. And we do kind of talk about, not just the personal relationships that girls will go through, such as, say, the bullying, such as, what else can you think about? Like, maybe we'll go through different challenges in classrooms, to family situations, community. But then there are also bigger pictures, like being a woman of color, girls of color, being a different, background, whatever that defines as you to who you are, all that kind of plays around. And the complexity of those various many factors will then shape the way in which one girl can experience the life differently. So by us talking about the equity is something that we want to do to address such existing barriers or different issues or stereotypes differently, so that we can get to the same equal level, and that's what we do.
That's awesome. How do you guys, like, what kind of programs do you offer to kind of teach girls these skills and give them this toolkit?
So we have our 3 pillars, which are strong, smart, and bold.
There you go.
Strong is overall well-being beyond body image. So we have Girls at Bat that we did last week, where it's just learning basic skills about baseball, but also that team building experience. We had Run Club, Mind and Body, where we talk about stress and mental health. And then we go into the SMART pillar, which is academic enrichment. So we have some STEM programs, some Indigenous learning programs where we bring in storytelling and traditional learnings. And then bold is life skills. So yesterday we actually had a self-defense workshop, actually Monday and Tuesday, where the girls learned how to protect themselves should they ever be in a situation they need to get out of.
Yeah.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Add to that would be the strong one. One of the cool things that we're learning is about this whole approach to intersectional approach to period of poverty. In that period, it's such a so-called stigma related.
It is.
Right? Like we bleed, and we do. And somehow, it's kind of such an uncomfortable topic to talk about, and we get that. And this is why we offer that kind of safe space for the girls to ask questions, even for the parents to be engaged. And we've seen like a record high attendance level and the engagement level from that programs. That's pretty cool for us to see. For the SMART pillar too, economic literacy is probably another program that's super high in demand right now.
Imagine learning about money.
Or taxes, or have we even learned how to do that when we're growing up? Question mark.
Right.
And I still ask myself the same questions too. And again, COVID-related challenges made the barriers even more clear as to why there is such a gap in this, not just community, but look at the country, look at the world. Somehow there is that gender inequality existing. So economic literacy kind of talks beyond personal finances. It's an important aspect, but brings in the whole, economical power structure that kind of shapes our experience or how we are shaped by such experiences. And then finally, the bold one, what we kind of wanted to talk about would be maybe the Girls 2 program, if you want to.
So Girls 2 plays on the Me Too movement because, of course, girls also go through similar things. As much as we might like to think that doesn't happen, it does. So it opens the conversation. During 16 Days of Activism Against Gender-Based Violence, we did a workshop where we kind of taught the girls who signed up how to be an advocate. So if someone comes to you disclosing that something happened to them, how can you support them? So that was an approach we took with that workshop. But otherwise, just opening the conversation of, it's okay if this happens to you. It is not your fault, and it is important to tell someone. and it's important to believe someone if they tell you.
Yes, definitely. That's wonderful. That's huge. I mean, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors, right? And to be able to give young girls this toolkit that they can use almost immediately, practice and hone growing up, right? That really gives them a way to understand themselves, understand relationships, understand boundaries, and I think that's such a huge thing in mental health. So when you were mentioning, this mental wellness as well through physical activity, I've been learning a little bit about what it is to have like good stress and bad stress. And that good stress is the kind of thing where you're going through like an activity like baseball or running, and it's that performance stress that helps your body continue to do things, and it also is really great for brain development. So that's wonderful that you guys are doing these kind of programs and kind of giving girls a place to come together in camaraderie. That's just such an important thing for girls to grow up as women, supporting women, because it's not a competition. Right?
Yes.
It's about how we can do this as a team and how we can like encourage each other. So that's huge, big time. Have you guys noticed any differences in the community since Girls Inc. since the organization itself, before Girls Inc. and during Girls Inc. has started?
What I have been told, though, at least, I have started this role about 4 years ago. But the history that this organization has made has been phenomenal. In that, girls usually just come here in a way not knowing not who you are per se, but say started off being shy or not having the confidence that you could have maybe, but just don't have that confidence to be confident, for example. After going through our program, say there are girls that I kind of got to meet over the past 4 years coming to this program consistently are now really able to have this public speaking opportunities to just yesterday at the grocery store, hey Nana, so I'm like, hi, that kind of stuff, and that kind of thing is like super inspirational to see for sure. And the fact that I guess we get to see all those presences in other opportunities talking about the importance around differences, celebrating the difference amongst the community is something that our girls are definitely excelling at doing. For instance, 2 girls from our affiliates are now represented at Teenage Council at the Girls Inc. national level.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
And I just want to add to that, we are the only Girls Inc. in Western Canada. The rest are in the GTA.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, they're all in the United States. So the 2 girls on the Teen Advocacy Council, they're the only 2 that were selected from Canada.
As a Canadian representative, so we're super proud and so excited for them. Currently learning a little more about decision making and diversity, inclusion, equity part in Washington D.C. right now.
Wow, that's wonderful.
And they're kind of on a board where they get to give their opinion of how we can improve, what we can change. So they're the voice representing us of how the organization can change to best suit girls.
Oh my gosh, at such a young age too. That's amazing.
Yeah, right?
I think that should be such a normal thing for us to not necessarily expect, but to have these kinds of young girls just kind of coming forward and be like, I'm ready for this. I think that should be such a normal thing to happen, and that's wonderful to see, from when you guys started to now, that it's becoming more of a norm that you even have like a council for them. Right. That's wonderful. Yeah. So what did they have to kind of go through, and what kind of things did they what kind of programs did they go through Girls Inc. in order to get to where they are now?
That I actually don't know a whole lot. I just had one of our programmers email us and be like, these 2 girls were selected.
Oh, awesome.
Let's cheer them on. So I did like a blog post about them and stuff. Yeah. But they're definitely they're 2 that have participated in probably every program that we've offered. A lot of our girls are so committed that they'll take programs over and over again. Yeah. They'll sign up for every program, even if maybe they think it doesn't interest them. They're still willing to come out and try it. Yeah. I would say those 2 girls that that were chosen were definitely that
Oh
type.
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's awesome to be able to have the capacity to be like, I'm gonna try this, even if it's scary, if I fail. That's such an important thing for young girls growing up to be women to do, because there's gonna be so many things
Right.
that you're not gonna know how to do.
Yeah.
Right? Even for me, I'm like hiding from my accountant, but I know how to do my taxes, but even something as simple as that, I'm like, yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Sorry, I'll see you the day after that. Just simple things like that. But for them to be able to break out of even just like a physical activity and continually do something
Exactly.
different, that's amazing to see, especially in young women. So yeah, that's wonderful to hear that they're literally like representing the Canadian side
Yeah, right.
in the States all on their own.
Yeah.
That's like, wow, it's huge.
It's that learning by doing. That's the kind of value that we
Yes.
foster, and we're hoping that the girls are kind of picking that on that too. And
Yeah, definitely. Do you know if there's any like possibility of more Girls Inc. Associations opening up in Canada? Because you said it's not a lot right now.
true,
Here in this
there
area.
are 4 affiliates in Ontario, only 1 in Western Canada, which is here. We understand that that'll be the direction that we're going to. We'll go there slowly, but I guess our plan is to make sure that we can bring about our Girls Inc. experiences to as many as girls as possible, so that again all girls can be strong, smart, and bold.
Yes, definitely. I love that those are the pillars, because it's just they're very important things about, growing up as a young woman and not necessarily having that kind of guidance in the world, and going to the point where it's not about necessarily being good at something, it's about being strong at something. And as you said, like mental wellness as well, being smart, and the boldness of having that confidence to do different things and kind of break out of that shell. That's so wonderful. That's huge. Do you guys, like, are you familiar with any like all girls like schools or programs in Canada right now?
Besides Girls Inc.
Oh well, I guess like just like schools themselves. I went to an all girls school when I was
Oh, I
in
see
junior
where you're
high.
right.
Okay.
Yeah. So for me, it was very much a lot of these kinds of values and learning to branch out into, especially into the sciences. So it's just, for me personally, having been in a different, I guess like a different aspect of what Girls Inc. would have provided, it was such a wonderful way to learn camaraderie with women, and kind of learn how to just be bad at something until you're great at it, and just keep going and have fun with it. So these kinds of organizations are wonderful for young girls growing up, and it's just like wow, it's wonderful to hear that you guys are all like, you're in Fort Mac and you're doing this work, especially with the youth that are available here.
I often think where my life would be if I had a program like this. When I was growing up, I think I would be somewhere completely different. But of course, we all know that one minor thing can change your path entirely. But how different would I be? Where would my life be if I had a program like this?
Yeah, that I can show that too. For sure.
Yes, definitely. I am really, really thankful that there was a program at all that had to do with like female empowerment and just growing up to be secure about who you are and grow into who you are, rather than like, this is who you should be. If you want this to happen, if you want to achieve something, you have to be a certain way. And it's like, no, you can just grow into yourself and learn how to have these kinds of pillars for yourself.
Right.
Yes.
The realization of that itself is empowering, isn't
Yes,
it? And
yes.
what do we mean by empowerment anyway?
Right.
And for us, it's really being able to make your own decisions and have control over that decision you make. It's that sense that kind of gives you that sense of empowerment. So yeah, like finding that voice itself may not be as easy as it seems like, but we know that we can get there with the right conditions and support.
Oh yes, definitely. So what kind of events have you guys had so far in Fort Mac with Girls Inc.?
So we actually have 2 quite large, our biggest fundraisers. The one is coming up on September 4th, which is the 28th annual golf tournament for Girls Inc. It's a 9-hole fun tournament where we just get the community together to come out and have some fun golf. It is co-ed. I get asked a lot if it's women only. It is co-ed. Everyone is welcome.
Yep.
We do say it's 18 plus just because alcohol will be served, but it's just a great way to get out, meet some people, learn about our organization, while supporting us. And then our big one is the Women of Inspiration celebration. Throughout the year, we honor 5 women who are nominated by the community for being strong, smart, and bold. So we get together and we celebrate them and again raise some money for us, but it is really just about honoring those women and letting the younger generations know that there are role models out there and they are right here in our community.
Yeah, definitely. It doesn't have to be someone that's from outside of your community. You can literally grow up here.
Yes.
And do something that makes you happy and use that as a way to give back to your community as well. It is very interesting to see how your community in Fort Mac has kind of like advocated for each other so much.
Yeah,
it's
true.
Wonderful, especially for like a woman that we just spoke to yesterday. Actually, her name is Rekha. She has Rekha's on the Snai, which is a restaurant that is absolutely lovely and beautiful.
Isn't it?
And to learn about someone like that who is like, I'm just going to take on the leadership role of this, it just makes sense. And, she just has this great presence that's really wonderful to be around as a woman who's strong, smart, and bold in such a way, right?
And it's great that you brought her up because we did just announce this week that she is our second Woman of Inspiration for this year's series.
Yay!
Yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations. That's wonderful. That's amazing. So what happens at these events? What can people expect when they come to them?
Well, it's hard to say for sure. We started in 2020, March 2020. In person. It was a great event. 2021 we went virtual, also a great event, but a very different atmosphere. And then last year we did hybrid, so we had a live stream. We were in person in a room, but we had virtual tickets for people who maybe weren't comfortable to be in the room or who aren't here but still wanted to experience it. But in a broad sense, we just bring the community together to honor the 5 women of inspiration. Those women have a chance to go up on stage, give a short speech. This year we did a Q&A, so they could actually get to know each other a bit and share their stories. And we also have a Women in Business Bazaar where local female-led businesses can actually set up a booth and sell their products at the event. We have so many businesses in the community who support us with auction items. Am I missing anything?
Yeah.
It's a huge event.
It is.
There's so much that goes into it.
To add to that, will be in the past 3 years at least, we were able to feature some sort of headliners that will be speaking about or performing something along the lines of that theme. So as Natalie mentioned, started off in 2020. First year, we shattered the existing stereotypes and barriers with the hope to, shatter glass ceilings around us.
Yes.
To do that, we featured Mandy Harvey, who has lost her hearing ability back in age of 16, but able to now discover her own strength to perform such an amazing, heartwarming performance to us all. That was what happened 2020. 2021, the mosaic was the theme. We wanted to put the shattered pieces back together to create a mosaic. To do so, we featured Farah Mohammed, who is the previous CEO of Malala Foundation. And, she was really able to touch on the diversity, equality, and inclusion side based on what she has been able to really experience and share that during such a challenging time. And then this past March, it was Voices was the theme. We celebrated the voices that was represented in each mosaic piece. And then with the keynote speaker being Serene Fox. I was like, ooh, I had the pace. So then there you go. She was able to really touch on different topics about, how Indigenous, non-Indigenous people come together, the communities coming together. There are different voices around us, and what kind of voices can you as a person or collectively come about and bring about. So then going into the 4th years are coming up in March 11th.
March 11th.
March
Oh,
11th.
wow.
And then a theme and everything to be announced really, soon. But up to date, there you go.
Oh, wow.
I will add one other thing. March 11th, we always plan it on or around
Yes.
International Women's Day. That's a
That's
big
another
part
day.
of the event is on or around International Women's Day. So it's just a
Yeah.
big celebration. Yes, we're honoring these 5 women, but we are celebrating
Commemorating it.
everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. And where does that so you mentioned it's 5 women. Where does that theme come from? Why is it 5 women?
Wanted to be special. Like to give
Yes.
the 5 ones, for sure.
So I don't know how it started.
Mhm.
We did used to honor, I think, 12.
12.
And then once we kind of narrowed it down to 5. And it just gives a nice amount of time to get applications in, pick someone, and then go into the next round of applications and pick someone else. And we do have a committee who does that. It's not like Nancy and I are just in an office picking our favorites. We do have a committee who goes through and evaluates each of the women who are nominated, and then they're chosen and
Yeah.
announced and sent off to the media, and they get to be celebrated.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful. Do you ever find that maybe that it can be difficult to narrow it down? Like, how does that? Yeah,
It's super
especially.
difficult. I do chair that committee, or I sit in those committees. Yes, decision-making process really has been difficult. But we do have a certain criteria. Like Natalia was mentioning, can this person be nominated demonstrate how strong this person is in terms of, say, breaking the stereotypes? Smart, what kind of life changing decision have this person made? And being bold, what kind of changes that this person made within the community and personally, and how would that really inspire all girls to be strong, smart, and bold? Those are the key criteria. So then we go through all the applications together, and then have this difficult talk as to which one will be the one that scores the highest.
Oh, wow.
So,
That's wonderful. That's definitely a really great criteria to have, especially when it comes to like for them personally and them with their community, especially.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's wonderful. So I was also wondering, who, when you talk about diversity, what kind of different types of young girls are included in the diversity, and how do you teach about diversity?
So every single program would have that component one way or the other. But when it comes to the demographics of the girls, first we target ages from 6 to 18. That in itself is a diverse group, although our approach will be age specific because we know every single age group stage would go through a learning process differently. That's one. And two, Fort McMurray itself is such a diverse community in terms of, say, racial, ethnic background, religious background, and all. So all the different groups will come together in one group. We are also not a, say, centered-based organization. We are choosing to sustain this business or organization this way because we know we would like to outreach to where the needs are, where the girls are. So in doing so, we're able to reach out to different communities, not just the, within the urban setting, but also surrounding settings. And then virtually now we can communicate with like a various, background people there. That's one. And further, we're also asking about the, say, exceptionality when it comes to restoration, learning how differently would you learn and what kind of needs would you have to be aware of, that kind of stuff, so that we can make sure that our approach is tailored. That we definitely do. And going forward to LGBTQA to LGBTQAI plus folks is something that we would definitely be reaching out to, so long as this person is identifying themselves as girl.
Oh, that's
And that
wonderful.
is our baseline.
That is something that we've added to our registration is your pronouns, how you identify. That way, if you identify or are questioning, you can still feel safe in our space.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's it. That's huge to be able to include people from the 2S LGBTQAA plus community, because we want to make sure that everyone who is identifying as a girl is included and feeling that inclusivity. What is it like for those youths to try to join Girls Inc., and what is it like for them before and after?
That is something we still have to discover further, I feel like.
Definitely, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they can only speak about their experiences themselves.
Definitely.
So
Yes, definitely. I almost wish that we would be like able to kind of showcase that in a way as well, because like it is wonderful to be able to really properly include everyone, right? And for me, just like having friends, I always like wonder what it's like for them to be able to express themselves openly and feel safe. So Girls Inc. is such a wonderful way, I guess, to do that because of the inclusivity, the diversity, and the like striving for equity in the first place. That's wonderful. Can you guys speak to any other experiences in the community, especially with the girls, and where they go off to do after 18?
Many go to post-secondary. We have started a program, Operation Smart Next Chapters. We went through a name change there. My brain was stuck on the old one. Where we discuss and explore different options. You don't necessarily have to go to post-secondary. If you want to explore different options for yourself, we can help you with that. So they go off in so many different directions, but as we mentioned, Fort McMurray is such a diverse community. It's amazing to see them at all the different events doing like cultural dances and sharing their culture with the public at events like that. They're all very much coming out of their shells, and you'll go to an event and you'll see them performing or up on a stage doing something. Yeah. But yeah, they're all so unique, doing their own thing in what feels right for them.
Yeah, it's not about what you do or need to know what you want to do. It's about how you get there.
Yes.
Like, what are the options that's available to you? Then you make your own decisions, right? And that is what we mean, right? Empowerment there. Also, we do have 2 scholarships programs available.
Wow.
One targeted for, general going into post-secondary education. There are 3 available, $3,000 each. Actually, application's going on right now, isn't it?
Yes,
Oh, really?
for the Women of Inspiration Education Award presented by Syncrude. So those applications close shortly, but they are still open. And then we do have the Finning STEM Award as well, which is for students who are going into post-secondary focused on a STEM
related field.
Yeah.
So not just the science, technology, engineering, mathematics, but we also consider, say, nursing, medicine, social sciences, economics, data management, all that related field to be eligible, that field to apply for. So please apply for the scholarship.
Yes, definitely. That's wonderful to be able to, offer a scholarship in that sense and be able to tell people, this is something that they can do. This is something that you are welcome to do and encouraged to do, especially to go out there and see the world, right? I mean, even if you're only going, to, maybe not a college at home, but maybe a university somewhere else or a college somewhere else. I think that it's definitely, Girls Inc. is here to give you that toolkit to be able to stand on your own like that and travel and see the world and, encourage you with, a scholarship in that sense as well. Do you guys offer anything else for support for the girls who end up like getting older and graduating?
Except for scholarships.
Definitely the scholarships, that's a big one, but then also volunteer opportunities.
Oh, that's awesome.
We love to see our alumni come back and be role models for the new generation of Girls Inc. participants.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful to be able to come back home and, number one, participate again, right? Kind of get that almost that like refresh of being around your community and the people that have been part of your life for so long, but also being able to show them this is where you can go.
Yes.
It's an option. You don't have to, but it's an option to go here and try these different things out. Like whenever I've gone back home to just spend time with family and friends, I didn't really understand it before, but my mom would always be like, you need to talk to these kids, and I'm like, I don't know what you want me to tell them. Like, I don't understand. Like, I go for coffee sometimes, it's great. I make these decisions. I don't know what to say, but realizing the more they ask questions, the more I'm like, oh, they want to know what happens after.
Yes.
Like, because they don't see that, right? They only see what they're doing at home, what they're doing at school. They don't see, where do I go after this, and how do I use all of this to grow? And
I still feel that way.
right, right.
Like every age of human needs a role model that's a little bit older, has a little bit more experience to help guide them.
Oh, big time. Yes. I definitely say, like, at this stage of my life, I'm still learning, still growing, and it is interesting to see, like, I'm still in my 20s, but to talk to people in their early 20s and them ask me certain things, or even see the difference between what they're experiencing and how they're experiencing those things versus how I'm experiencing similar things, or how I did. It's interesting to see that it's like, you think you're so alone in the experiences that you're having, but when you start to talk to other women, when you start to talk to other girls, you realize you're not alone at all. You're going through these things together at the exact same time.
And there's always someone who has the same, maybe not the exact same experience, but they can relate to your experience. The internet's a wonderful place for that, but it can also be a terrible place.
Yes, definitely. Oh, yes. But it is wonderful to meet other girls, and I mean, Girls Inc. is so wonderful for that, where you get to talk to each other about what you're going through, and you get to talk to girls who are older and what they're going through. How does that interaction work with the girls? Like, are their programs a little bit more split up into their age groups?
Yeah, so most of our programs are 6 to 8, 9 to 12, and then the Operation Smart Next Chapters is done in school with high school grades.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, even sometimes some programs, the 6 to 8 is a wide range when it comes to what the 6-year-olds have experienced versus the 8-year-olds. But that is the general, depending on the topics, depending on the base of the program, 6 to 8, 9 to 12.
Okay.
One good example with the mentoring program where, it's open to the girls, say younger age, but then there are older girls who get to then mentor the girls, sharing what's going on in their own lives as a mentor. And then now we have a youth volunteering programs too, where they act as a mentor for the girls that's participating, and together we are able to then amplify one another. So.
Oh, wow. So is that mentorship, is that part of Next Chapters?
That'll
How
be
does that
its
work?
own program. It's called a Stay Strong Mentoring Program.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so for example, this summer we have some special guests coming in for the mentoring program who will come in and share about their lives and their experience, and it's not necessarily a one-on-one mentorship, which I think is where a lot of our minds go when we talk about mentorship.
Yeah.
But it's just an opportunity for the girls to make connections with potential mentors in the community and learn about the options that are out there. And you know, sometimes before I worked here, we did mentoring, and sometimes you're just doing an activity and you don't realize that you're being mentored through this activity.
Yeah, it's the relationship building that we value the most.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit more about Next Chapters as well?
I can tell you a little bit because I was on a panel once for our programmer Abby, who is the facilitator for that program. We did it virtually this year. It was actually the pilot this year that we did. And it's just, she goes in, she talks to the students, learns about their goals, what they want to do, whether they want to take a year off and travel, take a year off in general, go to post-secondary, go into a trade. So we just opened the conversation of, where do you want to go? How are we going to get you there? And then, as I mentioned, I was on a panel, so she had a panel of someone who went to college, someone who went to university, someone who chose to travel for a year. And we all just shared our experiences with the class, and like what we benefited from, and then the class was open to ask us questions.
Oh, wow.
And that ties back into the whole critical thinking enhancement aspect of being smart. It's going beyond the STEM field, but related to that is the problem solving. It is you being able to look at things critically. What we mean by critical? Well, there you go. There are like options to take a look at different things from different angles. Can you do that?
A big part is, okay, so you, for example, want to take a year off. How are we going to plan this out so it's sustainable? How are we going to make this work best for you? Because when you go to post-secondary, you potentially have supports. If you choose to travel, how are you going to do that? So it's very much setting that step-by-step plan of how are we going to get you to your goal.
Oh, wow. That's so cool. That gives you, like, you're really able to kind of drive where you want to be,
Yeah.
and have that guidance to be like, well, I don't know how to ask about this. What do I say?
Yes.
Right? I mean, at that point, you're able to like, for me personally, it's wonderful to be able to go to someone and tell them, this is what I want to do, and then for them to be like, hey, how are we gonna get you there? Right? That's such a great way to give people their chance and their opportunity to decide how they want their life to look, and almost build it in a way, I guess, and then just see that become reality, right?
And I think that's part of the challenge of, this is what I want to do, but then you kind of get a little bit afraid because you're not sure how to get there. You're not even sure how to start the plan of how to get there. So to have that support, I think, eases that stress, eases that fear that might make you take a step back from what you actually want to do.
And really quell those voices that are telling you, like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Do you know how to do this? Like, no, this is why I'm asking you.
Yeah.
Right? I definitely had a lot of different roads through high school, actually even starting in junior high, where it was like, I want to go into sciences. I want to go into like social work. I want to go into nursing. It was just up and down, up and down, up and down, and you really start to realize, like, at this point now, I realize it goes like this.
Right?
It's not like straightforward. It's like, this is where I want it to be. Oh no, you know what? I think I want to go this way instead, and it's just kind of change things up. Having a role model to be there for you, to guide you, to support you, and tell you you're valid for wanting to do these things. You're valid for wanting to try something new. And I think that's really, really cool about Girls Inc. That's kind of like the feeling I'm getting from Girls Inc. right now, is that you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Literally, it's not necessarily easy, but if you have the toolkit, it makes it that much more, digestible, I guess, right? Yeah. Can you guys tell me a little bit about, like, what your personal experiences have been with Girls Inc. and how it's kind of, like, affected your lives, maybe?
You want me to start?
Of course.
I started because my friend was actually a mentor. Then she worked here, so she convinced me to mentor, and now I work here. But really, the experience, having seen both sides of it, honestly, it's just so great to watch the girls grow. From the first day of mentoring, where we all kind of kept to ourselves, the mentors tried to get the girls to open up, but it's not always easy, to showing up to a program as staff and having the girls know who I am 2 years later is just incredible. And then really just, watching them connect, seeing them out in public, doing those things that I would never be on stage at that age. I'd be at the back working the lights or something. So to see them just so out of their shell and embracing who they are is just incredible.
Yeah, and for myself too, like, my journey has been quite of a roller coaster too, for sure. But right when I was offered, or I guess considering this position, I was at the time working in Sudan, working on water sanitation work to the women farmers, girls' education and stuff like that. Even prior to that, I was working with street vendors in Malawi who were, forcibly removed out of their streets and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Prior to that, then, I've kind of seen all those different experiences in a way right in front of my face, where women of seemingly color just getting assaulted verbally and physically. And I'm just talking about when I was at the age of 5 years old, and I clearly remember that. And there was just something wrong about the society. And at the time, I really just didn't know what to do, but it felt like something was really wrong about the society, and I strongly remember that feeling. And then, I was originally from Japan, born in Japan, but raised and traveled, worked in, like, everywhere pretty much in the world. One of the things that I kind of realized going forward was the fact that I myself have a different identity in terms of, say, being a woman of color, say, survivor of the eating disorder. All that kind of factors kind of shapes you the way you are. And then coming to this role, I do realize how some of the challenges or the issues are in a way super similar one or the other. It's different, but super similar. So then being able to kind of lead this organization from, say, back in 2016, girls that we served were about 300 girls
Oh, wow.
a year. And now back in 2021, as of then, 1566 girls we have been able to serve. And that kind of growth itself couldn't have been possible without saying what Natalia was saying, something about girls being able to really take the benefits from our program, staff coming together, communities coming together, because we kind of reposition ourselves as to what we really stand for. And that kind of having the alignment of personal values to this organizational value has been an incredible journey for myself, at least.
That's amazing. It's just wonderful to see how, an organization like this can literally impact anyone at any stage of their lives, and really give us that opportunity to kind of help the people who might not necessarily be I guess to kind of reach out to people who have sometimes even been just reduced to something just on a piece of paper, right? Because these are real lives, these are real people who go through these kinds of things. And I understand that you guys do a lot of research into, kind of the numbers of how many women or how many girls, go through certain things in their lives, and how Girls Inc. kind of changes that. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Got that ready?
I don't have numbers.
Here, but
So for physical activity, for example, if girls aren't in sport or doing physical activity by the age of 10, I believe, then there's like a 10% chance that they will be physically active as adults. So introducing them to that healthy physical activity outside of body image, where you can do physical activity and have fun and enjoy yourself, is really important. And we do see that where the girls, come out to learn baseball skills, or, come out during Wellness Wednesday last year, we had a circuit set up and the girls loved it. I'm like, if I had to do this in a gym, I would hate it. But because we're introducing it in a fun way, it sets them up for success in that aspect. And then eating disorders, the majority of people who suffer from eating disorders are women. So to teach them about nutrition and how to nourish your body is really important as well. What else do you want to know?
Well, I guess that is, just to like expand on that a little bit, that is such a huge part of growing up, is learning how to fuel yourself, learning how to feed yourself for huge things, like even just like helping to regulate your mood, helping to regulate your activity.
Yes.
Sleep is a huge thing. Like I know that, proper food and, just like fun exercise, not for body image, can be a huge help in helping with like regulating sleep and just letting you function and live a happy lifestyle in the first place. It's very strange to almost, like, I think growing up I didn't really understand what that meant, right? I was like, what do you mean? I'm always happy. But then when you really get to be excited about certain types of really nourishing foods that are really pretty, really exciting. I mean, Instagram's a huge thing where it's like you can find all these really fun, really easy recipes that are so cool to look at and also really exciting to eat. And that's just such a huge thing that I've seen on my page, which is more curated towards like doing things for fun and eating food because it's fun and healthy and exciting, right? So that is wonderful.
You did touch on stress there, so I wanted to mention we're doing a challenge right now for the girls where they can fill out a Google form and it's tracking your physical activity, but included in that is things like meditation.
Oh yes.
So it's physical activity, taking care of yourself. And then we have the Get Booked for Summer one as well, which is a reading challenge to encourage girls to read more. It's incredible to see the girls change and to see them grasp these things in a sense that, is more empowering for them.
That's wonderful.
Some of the key facts, though. I do have the cheat sheet. There you go. Right? 1 in 6 girls ages 10 to 17 in Canada hate their bodies.
Which is huge.
That is so huge.
That is a lot of people a lot of people right there.
That is, like, I think of my friend group.
Mhm.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, and 49% of Canadian survivors of sexual assault in 2009 to 2014 were under age 18. Indigenous women, girls are nearly 3 times as likely as non-Indigenous women to experience violent crimes.
And I just want to pause to say this is just what's reported.
Yeah.
Wow. That doesn't actually include everything. That
Yes.
only includes the people who are, you know, willing to come forward and share their stories and talk about
Exactly.
what's happened to them.
Underreported,
And
right?
Even the people who are aware of it happening to them and being able to come forward and like, I'm ready to heal. These are the things I can do to heal so that I can, you know, have a better relationship with my mind, my body, myself as a person, and to really embrace the parts of me that, you know, that I love and need
exactly.
to kind of encourage to grow more. Yeah. Wow.
Back to the initial story about these sporting related physical activity, but interesting fact. If a girl has not participated in sports by the age of 10, there is only a 10% chance that she'll or they will be physically active as an adult. I could kind of relate to that too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard when you, especially in the age of technology, it's so easy to feel like, oh, I can lose hours to tinkering around with things, with trying to build things. I really liked playing on the computer a lot, and playing video games a lot, and watching movies. And for me, that was like, I rationalized it as saying that's how I'm going to learn about life. That's how I'm
Yeah.
going to learn about society. But those are commentaries on society. Those are commentaries on life. It's not the same as going outside and really truly having a connection
Yes.
with a group, playing a sport with a group, and you know, life is not scripted. So being able to actually properly, you know, convey and explain what your idea is for the game today. How are we going to win this? How are we going to adjust to win against the other team? Or how are we just going to have fun?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I didn't play sports much as a child, teenager, and then I tried to join a beginner soccer league as an adult, and I was like, I am not prepared for this. And I went, I had fun, I stayed with it, but it was a huge step because I was not used to that team environment and that bit of competition.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very uncomfortable, but I pushed through. I'm happy that I did, but it was that first step of, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to go do something different. And if I had done sports as a kid, I'd still be on sports teams.
Mm-hmm.
But now I struggle to go to the gym.
I was playing tennis during junior high to senior high. But then, there's just things around bullying happening within the tennis club, and that kind of, changed my life a little bit from there. Then going back to the same point, I kind of somehow, not even sometimes, all the time, I really think, how would my life been different? Had there been programs like Girls Inc.?
Yes.
Would I have gone seek help? Maybe, maybe not, but that might have been different. But no, there's no regret in what I did, because, I'm able to do this right now. So.
Yes. At one point or another, you're going to end up coming back to a group of women who are there to support each other, they're to learn together, and they're to grow together. And I think that's such a huge thing for women to be able to do, right? I mean, I don't think that I was super aware of programs like Girls Inc. at the time, other than my junior high that I went to. But I definitely saw the value in, a girls only club. It's just so much more exciting to have a girls only club. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. You can laugh about anything. You can just be whatever you want to be and not be worried about, what do I look like right now?
Yeah.
How am I dressed right now? How am I laughing too loud? I think that's the biggest thing.
Self-consciousness.
Yes.
Also, I find it interesting about women when a group of women come together, the stigma around periods goes away.
God, just gone. You can talk about any of it.
Yeah.
Any of it. You can even suggest products to each other so easily. You're like, yeah, I'm done with that one. Actually, I started using this.
Yeah.
So much better. You can get into literal be like, this like the latest in period technology.
Yes.
You don't even understand,
Yeah.
right? It's huge. Yeah. Do you offer any kind of like programs or like specifically around like destigmatizing periods?
Yeah, so we actually have a healthy sexuality workshop, which is an introduction to your period. So we go through your anatomy and what happens during your period, your cycle, and then the girls actually get a kit which has pads, liners, tampons, a little bit of chocolate in there because we all love our chocolate, and some lip chaps. So it really, I'm not sure about the one that we're doing right now, but the one we did earlier this year, we actually invited parents to come to the workshop so that it was an open conversation, and it was more of a collaborative effort of teaching the girls about their bodies. And an interesting thing that happened is I actually had a nurse reach out to me on Instagram saying, I'm a nurse, I've done everything I can, but I still really want her to come to this workshop to learn a different perspective.
Awesome.
There you go. And there's a science tweak to that too, then, where we kind of more focus on the female anatomy, but talking about the similar aspects that this healthy sexuality, mind and body programs talks about. So then kind of girls get to visualize as to, oh, this is how that works, this is the kind of purpose that it serves, kind of stuff.
Yeah, because it literally is. It's your anatomy. You have this, whether you like it or not at this point, right? And you kind of have to learn to embrace it and grow with it, and be like, this is how it works, rather than trying to fight something, and then kind of like getting rid of a part of you that might be so wonderful to be able to embrace and talk about, and even being able to talk about it with like people who are not your mom, because I'm sure at that age it's like, Mom, there's always that like, I don't want to talk about it. Like I was definitely like that, like I don't want to talk about this with my mom, this is weird. But being able to talk about it with other girls because it seems more normal, it's this weird, like you get to bond over the fact that you're a girl or identify as a girl, right? It's huge. Yeah. So that's amazing that you're able to literally give someone a different perspective from their mom being a nurse in the first place, and literally having all this knowledge on that. Do you ever have like guest speakers at all?
For the healthy sexuality? I'm not sure that we've had a guest speaker for that one, but we've had naturopaths in during some of our programs. Like I mentioned, for mentoring, we're gonna have some guest speakers. We have a therapy dog coming in.
Oh my God! Yes.
I didn't know that.
I don't know if the dog is coming, but the company is coming, so I assume they're bringing the dog.
Pretty cool.
I'm also a dog person. That was my reaction when I saw it. We have RCMP firefighters often come in.
Ages representatives for sure.
I think we had a personal trainer once come in to talk about nutrition and fitness.
Yeah.
So we really try to broaden that, so that real life experience is coming in, and it's not us just reading what we've researched.
Cyber safety, security is another big part that ICMP could touch on and have touched on in the past.
Oh, that's awesome. It's amazing. What were you going to say before I started guest speakers?
What were we talking about?
Oh, we were talking about destigmatizing periods.
Okay,
yes.
So I was just going to say, I also hope myself that by having the girls have this conversation, they can then, send that conversation over beyond girl conversation and girl talk, because how many guys know how a pad works?
Right?
Yeah.
Right. That is a huge thing, and being able to just talk about it like it's normal.
Yeah.
There are definitely things that guys talk about, and it's normal and it's fine, and sometimes it's so normal you can make jokes about it and it's chill. Yeah. Right? It's not even a big deal. You even the girls make jokes about it and it's fine. But being able to just literally be like, this is a normal section in the grocery store or in the pharmacy, in any store. We don't need
to
It's okay. It's not scary. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal, right? I know what I'm doing. If you know that this is normal, then it's okay, right? Because I'm sure that there are probably fathers who have daughters, right? And they're going to have to be able to, say something through the door and be like, okay, I'm going to go to the store and I've got you. Don't worry, right? Because it's more than just, about us. It's about everyone having access to this kind of knowledge and being able to talk about it. Yeah. So that's huge.
Yes. the key line or tagline for Girls 2 program that we have is indeed respect starts young.
Yes.
And we are disseminating this knowledge, girls and beyond. So during the COVID time, one of the things that we were able to do and kind of had to do, because the in-school programming, it was so difficult to separate girls from boys from one classroom setting. We took that into our advantage and made it such a amazing gender sensitivity awareness kind of a space where boys get to kind of learn as to what kind of program message that these people have to really understand and get, such as, you know, what kind of things that makes girls uncomfortable or maybe boys uncomfortable about it, or gender diverse folks uncomfortable about it. And let's talk about it in a safe setting. So yeah, no, that Girls 2 campaign in a way kind of ties beautifully into that conversation that we're having right now.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, being able to, you know, really include everyone, including the boys, and let them understand this is what it means when girls are going through certain things, and even to you know, you never know who you're talking to, because what if this is someone who is heavily wanting to identify as a girl, as a female, and they're not getting the chance to hear anything because what they physically present as, right? And I think that's such a huge thing to be able to include and make sure that everyone is having access to an association like Girls Inc. and being able to talk to people like you about how to join and why it's important to join. Can you maybe even just tell everyone at home, like, final words, why is it important to join?
Personally, because I wish I had it when I was a kid, and I'm sure lots of other girl identifying people would love to have this support. We're teaching basically from the beginning consent, healthy relationships, how to be overall healthy, how to be bold, how to protect yourself, how to, you know, challenge yourself. There is no rule book to life. We don't have instructions, but we can give you the tools. We have the toolkit that we talked about a lot. So the toolkit is here at Girls Inc. We do programs every season. We do workshops throughout.
And for myself, because we want a peaceful and safe world. Like, that is what we all strive towards too. And to do that, we would like to see a, you know, again, diverse, more equitable, more inclusive society. And Girls Inc. is committed to work towards that. And that's why we do what we do.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Can you just remind people at home how they can reach out to Girls Inc. Or even just folks who are just interested, how they can get into contact?
Phone, if you're comfortable phoning, which is a thing, you know, now. Not everyone loves a phone, but if that's how you prefer to communicate, 780-790-9236. Our website is girlsincofnorthernalberta.org. Direct email, communications with an S at girlsincofnorthernalberta.org. Social media across the board, Girls Inc. of NAB. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and you can, even if you find us on social media, you can direct message us. Someone should reach you, you know, in a business day. Any questions, we're happy to answer them.
Any questions? No questions, silly.
Right. Were there any final thoughts that you wanted to share with people? Maybe something that I didn't ask about?
No,
Thank
you so much.
Awesome. No, thank you. It's been wonderful to learn about Girls Inc., learn about the programs that are available for everyone to enroll in, and for the girls to come in and just really break out of their shell. Even just to come in, I mean, watch, I'm sure, is still a wonderful thing. It's a first step, right? So taking your first steps with Girls Inc., I think, is huge.
Yeah. That itself means a lot, and that is super empowering. So encourage everybody to reach out to us.
Thank you guys so much, and thank you for talking with us and sharing your stories and sharing your knowledge with the folks at home. This has been Rekha, the R in RNG and the 780, and I'll see you guys next time.
Hello everyone, this is Gabby, the G in RNG and the 780, and we are here another beautiful day in Fort McMurray. I'm excited for this particular episode for you folks at home because today we have Amy Keller Remp. Amy, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
You folks at home are in for a good one because I can't say the amazing artwork that's here, you'll be seeing it shortly, is just fabulous. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for matching us up. Red is
Yes.
also my favorite color, so it'll be amazing. Amy, can you let the folks at home know a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name's Amy Keller Remp, and I am an Indigenous artist, and my work is sold all across the country. You'll find it in many gift shops on mugs and puzzles and calendars and that sort of gifty type products and gifts. But also, my work is sold, it's been sold all around the world with my wildlife, my custom metal artwork. I also do Indigenous geared work that's painting on animal hides and fur and using those traditions from carried over from my life of hunting and trapping and fishing and using that in an art form as well.
That's amazing. One thing I did want to kind of ask because I had learned this, is it true that you kind of learned this talent when you were 10 years old? Is that when you...
Yeah, so first of all, I'd have to like not take all that credit and say that it was a gift and I was born with it.
Okay.
The creator, God, just said, okay, you're going through to be an artist. And, you know, right from day one as a child, I immediately connected and, you know, drawing my little dinosaurs and unicorns. And then one day, I think I was in kindergarten, the teacher asked us to do some finger painting. And I remember thinking, no, I want to do something more than that.
Oh, wow.
So I got out this book that they had of wildlife in the corner of the classroom and it had this tiny little photo of two bull moose fighting.
Oh,
So I thought it was just this little black and white photo, but it was all I could find in that moment. So I just used it for reference and sketched out these two bull moose with my pencils, colored it with the crayons, and the teacher was like, okay, wow, she didn't quite know what to say. But it was probably from that moment on that my mom, the arts, it flows through my family. Especially down the Mohawk side of the family.
Oh, okay.
And my uncle's also a great artist, and all of my aunts, everyone's creative in some way, shape, or form. And she was like, oh, I think we have another Uncle Jerry on our hands. So
okay.
they just encouraged me, and I continued on. And my dad was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis when I was about 7, 8 years old, and it was a pretty rough ride until about 21. And that kept me focused on creating and painting. It was my outlet and still is since he passed away in 2004. So yeah, it's very healing and has kept me focused. And those skills building over the years are that's what I'm creating now.
no, I'm very sorry to hear
Yes,
about your
thank
dad
you.
and how. However, I do believe we kind of had chatted off camera that he was able to kind of help you in
Yes.
kind of the various forms that you undertake.
Yeah, so MS, as a lot of people know, it's a neurological disease, and it just slowly breaks down the function of the body, and it can hit different parts of the body. And for my father, luckily, he still was able to speak. He still could think as he did before he had MS. And the biggest thing for him is his body kind of turned into like a prison, I would say. He was very active outdoors, loved hunting, loved fishing, he worked for the pipeline. He was very physically fit and active, and then that all just shut down. And he had chronic progressive. So once it started, there was no stopping it, and it just gradually got worse and worse. And he used to say, if I don't use it, I'm going to lose it fast. So he would always try to be picking things up, moving things around as much as he could from his wheelchair. And yeah, it just kept just taking his mobility away more and more very rapidly. So during that time, we actually had to renovate our house and make it wheelchair accessible. And I remember my two sisters and my mom and I, we we did a lot of the work ourselves. We did have some family and friends reach out when they could, but life is busy for everyone. So we managed the best we could. But something I'm forever grateful for is that my dad, he was like a jack of all trades. He could learn any skill. He could fix a tractor. He could put the roof on a house. He could install windows, oil changes in vehicles, just self-taught. And living in the country, that's kind of the lifestyle that everyone there adjusts to. So I remember him then, he wasn't able to do these things. So my sisters and I were like his moving body. Like we would physically do it. He would explain it to us. I remember my sister under the truck doing an oil change and he explaining where the filters are and what to change and grab this tool and do that. Oh, wow. So we learned about wrenches and all sorts of different tools. But the big thing was like construction on the house, running saws, using tools of all sorts of drills, hammers, ratchets, like just everything that we could to get the job done. And he would explain to us how to install the windows and how to move them over there because they were very heavy. And I'm a tall person, but I mean, at 12 years old, I can only lift so much. And I remember, okay, go get those pipes that we have on the ground over there and set them on there and let's roll it. And then the other two would bring it and we'd just like kind of move it across to its position and hoist it up. So he taught us a lot how to work smart and not physically draining. So how can we do this? And my mother too was also a problem solver in that format that she would, okay, let's figure this out. We can do this. What's a way we can move this without, hurting ourselves or damaging our own body. So over the years, using those tools and those skills, I realize now is a massive gift because if I want to go and cut up a tree that's fallen down in my yard, between watching my dad and his explaining how to use a chainsaw and then getting proper training from a good friend of mine, Coleman Boomhauer, I can go cut that tree up now confidently, knowing I'm not going to hurt myself and knowing I have the right skills to do that. And for my dad, I'm using grinders all the time and air tools to do my metal art. That's something I may not be doing right now if he hadn't instilled the confidence within me to use those tools in the manner that I do and understand how to use them safely. So that's a huge part of my metal art series now, and I etch and sculpt and create the entire image on the aluminum with grinders, with angle grinders, and shaping and sculpting and then sanding, orbital sanders. Like that's because when I was 7, 8 years old, I was using tools like that to help us build our home and make it wheelchair accessible. So it's something that I carry with me, and I'm grateful to my father for taking the time to show me.
No, that's like amazing. It's very odd, and I don't want to say this, but I'm like in a way, you kind of being an extension of the things he wanted to do, and you kind of creating the ramp, creating various artworks, and kind of helping around. Like I said, I was very impressed to see. And you were saying like there was like angle grinding in your artwork and the pieces that I saw. So I was like, I wonder how that came to be, because that's not exactly, imagine the tool that someone's like, yeah, that, today it's going to be that, so.
I got to learn how to use that grinder.
Yeah, exactly. And safely and confidently without, injuring myself or anything like that. Yes. So very bizarre. Like, I don't want to say that like, it's kind of the silver lining to that journey is that because you have that gave you the ability to continue your creative process of creating.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's amazing to see. Is this piece right here that I have to kind of highlight that you're working on, how was that? Is that through the?
Yes. So like this back here is the bare grinding, just the tools alone.
Okay.
And then so all of these little details, I actually sculpt the entire piece out.
Oh, okay.
Before I even bring paint into play on it. And so now I'm building up the negatives with my airbrush. So that would be all the in-between parts. And then, when you shine light on it, it just reflects and glitters. So this is the very beginning of a piece. And then next I build in color. I grind out some more of the hot spots, pull out that really shiny part, and I'll bring in the bigger grinder for that. And then it just digs down nice and deep. This is kind of one of those shinier spots
wow.
right in here. So then it really glitters and looks diamond-like. And then once I apply the clear on the end, it just brings it forward, looks 3D. It really gives it a lot of contrast and depth, and it looks super neat.
No,
So I
it's
love creating metal art.
no. I immediately, like when we kind of first came in here, gravitated towards this. So then, question for you about is this piece a commission, or is this piece that you kind of came up with?
Yes. So this is inspired by another piece I had done, and the customer had seen the original piece and was quite inspired by it and wanted something really similar. So I'm actually doing very much the same type of piece.
Okay.
But that's the thing with metal art. You can't reproduce it in a print form and get that same, result as you would with a canvas painting.
Okay.
So they're kind of their own unique piece each and every time. So I'm recreating this one. The original is Out of the Mist. So this one will be for a business downtown that has asked me to do a piece for their brand new building. So I'm excited to do that for them, and it's going well.
No, that's fantastic. I have to say, while we've been here in Fort McMurray and visiting around, we have managed to see quite a few of your pieces in the town here itself. So it was impressive to be like, oh, yes, and then asking you kind of beforehand, you're like, yes, that's me, yes, that's me, yes, that's me. And we're like, it makes so much sense why, when we kind of contacted the Chamber of Commerce here, that they're like, you've got to talk to her.
Yeah.
She's the, with your pieces, and I have to ask this because I myself, like, I do film and that's my version of art. How do you come about, like, do they kind of come to you? Like, how's that process of kind of like visualizing what you're going to make next?
Yes. So firstly, I have to say thank you to my community, because the outpour of support here is just unbelievable, and I'm truly grateful to be part of Fort McMurray. They absolutely love the arts here and what we're able to create and bring forward, and people recognize that, and they support you, and they support local and support your love, support you with their love. So I am truly grateful for the support here. When it comes to creating pieces, so there's different levels. I do pieces for municipal projects, big airport projects, company projects. Those are geared specifically towards a feeling, an emotion, a meaning that they want represented within that project. So that I kind of start from ground one and build up. Okay, what makes sense? Should I pull this in? How about we try that? And I'll do concept drawings and then sit down with the customer and we kind of decide together what the vision is.
Okay.
And we build it together. Many times I will do commissioned pieces like this. They've seen something I've done. It's been inspired by an experience they've had, something that they want to remember, and then again we build that vision together. And then thirdly, I've been painting since I was 5 years old. So let's say, 35 years now. And I feel like this is the creator, this is God, like molding me and shaping me throughout my life for this moment in time in my life. And many times, especially when emotions are heightened and something is going on, that I feel a real personal connection to, or an emotional reaction to, a response, visions will come to me.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's quite powerful, because the pieces that I've created in this way are something I could never dream up myself. It's coming from a higher power, and it's always good. So I know that it's out of love. So I just let myself be used as a vessel in these moments, and to just follow through and create the vision. It always happens at night. I'm trying to fall asleep.
Of course it does, yeah.
Everything's quiet. Everything's peaceful, and I just close my eyes, and as I'm drifting off, and then all of a sudden it's just like all the lights come on in my mind, and here's this painting, and I can see it, like the end result, so clearly. and I can feel the urge within my heart and soul of God, of the Creator saying, okay, it's time. You need to paint this.
Oh,
Do this now.
wow.
Yes,
Okay.
I can feel this in my soul. It's a deep spiritual connection, and until I actually put it out of my mind and on a canvas, it doesn't leave me alone either.
I was gonna say that's my follow-up questions. I can't imagine like laying there and then getting this vision. I'm like, do I sleep now or do I have to get up and like
Right.
what's so do you like because to me sometimes like this is a very common thing in the film world is like once you have an idea, you're writing like in your palm, on a napkin, something
Yes.
just to like get it
Yes.
out of there so you don't forget it or let that inspiration leave. How does it work for you? Do you have to finish the
Yes.
painting or are
So,
you
well, depends. If it's really in-depth detail and I know I can't get to it right away, I have a sketchbook that's kind of like my book of concept designs that I go back and forth with clients with until we find the vision.
okay?
So I will then take the same book and I sketch out this like a rough draft quickly so that I don't forget any of the details. But 9 out of 10 times, whether I put that down or not, it's in there and
And
it will
it's
not go.
oh wow, that's okay. That's actually like so amazing.
Yeah.
Do you know kind of, and I just need to ask this just so I know, when did that was so I remember that the kindergarten kind of story and I can't imagine being that teacher who's watching kids finger paint and then there's you in the corner like creating and they're like, yeah, I think that's the artist for sure here. When did those kind of begin?
So the visions that I feel are directly being given to me directly, a line from the creator, I feel like that kind of developed in the last 10 years or so and it's building momentum. I feel like the more that I'm obedient and listening and create what I feel and see, and I know it's a higher power, I couldn't, that's not me on my own. There's too much involved and too much detail and things that I wouldn't even think about including in that piece that come forward. So it's helping me to grow. I feel like maybe the first 15, 20 years of my life were like, okay, we're going to master your skill. You have the talent. Let's figure out how to do my biggest, when I was younger, I was like, I want to paint like Robert Bateman. I want to get that realistic effect. I want to do realism as, as best as possible. And I started that when I was about 10, and I started selling paintings 10, 12, 14, 16. At age 16, I was fortunate enough to be in the right place at the right time, and I grew up in Eastern Ontario and then moved to Alberta in 2008. So Bon Echo Provincial Park in Eastern Ontario, I was working there as a gate attendant. People would come in and book their campsite, so I heard that Robert Bateman was coming to do a tour.
Oh,
yes.
okay,
And
all
he
right.
was going through all the national parks and different communities, and he was bringing pieces to talk to people about his processes. So I remember thinking, okay, I would really like to have his feedback on what I'm creating. Is it, does it have potential or just give it up and go focus on something else? So I was pretty nervous.
I was gonna say, what were you like a nervous
I
deal?
was
Like,
nervous. I
okay,
thought he's
yeah,
going
of
to say,
course.
okay, forget it.
Oh no, no.
But long story short, luckily my sister was with me that day and she was a little more brave than me. And she actually took some photos of my work, and like there was probably 300 people in the gymnasium. It got rained out at the park, so we ended up at our high school. And she just kind of weaved her way right through to the front and said, "Excuse me, Mr. Bateman, does this person have potential, or should they just maybe go on a different path?" And she had like 3 photos of works I had done when I was like 15, 16. And he took like 10 minutes with all these people to look at these photos and critique and point out everything that he liked about them, and that they were great. He loved it, mostly everything about them. I had nothing really negative to say. He asked her if she had painted. She said, "No, I didn't, but my sister did." And as she was walking away, he looked at her and said, "So, but wait, how old is your sister? Like, if she's working on this now." And she's like, "Well, she's 17, but she was 16 when she painted those." And he was like, wow, I thought she had 35 years under her belt already.
Oh, wow.
So that just, the
Oh, my
doors
gosh.
blew wide open for me, right? I was so confident and
Yeah.
happy and reassured and just grateful for that feedback. And that's kind of been a guiding beacon for me through this journey. Like, okay, don't give up. Like, you can do this. You know, you're getting encouraged by professionals that are already established. So it really was a morale boost for me. And I just remember thinking, I'm going to work hard. I need to be successful. And same with both of my sisters. They're both very successful. When we were kids, my dad got sick. We were already saying at a young age, we need to grow up, be successful, make good money to be able to find a cure for MS.
Okay.
To help my dad get better and everyone else who's suffering from it. So I still to this day donate a lot of works to help raise money for multiple charities, but MS as well.
No, that's wonderful. I was going to tack on that comment of that must have felt like the longest 10 minutes of your life. And I can't imagine like how much you're like
Yeah.
at your sister. She's like, are you
I
serious?
was,
Really?
like,
Yeah. Like,
hiding in the corner like, if I need to exit
oh,
quickly, I
no.
will.
But that's always fantastic because a lot of times we get asked by folks who are looking to get into the arts and everything, like how so many amazing successful artists began and everything. And it's always wonderful to hear that like everyone began at some point going, I don't know, I'm unsure.
Yes.
And then just hearing kind of feedback, whether it be from the community, professionals, everything, going like, please go into this because
Yes.
you have a gift. We would love to see more. Like, I'm just imagining in that moment, had, you know, he not done so or perhaps like given worse feedback, like we would miss out on.
Yes.
Like, that's just so always insane to me
Yes.
because I'm always like, no, like we should be encouraging artists
Yeah.
and like to develop and like to hear that like he saw such like masterful like years within your work must have been like,
It was so reassuring. I think had it been a different outcome, it probably would have definitely, I would have taken a hit, but I would have gone back and been like, okay, how can I do better? How can I make this better? Whereas the way it went, I continued on with full confidence and I just was really ready and hungry to make it, refine the skill to really achieve these realism details. And I did. I got to a point where I felt really confident, comfortable with what I was creating. And then I kind of had like this shift of like, okay, I feel like I've conquered this. Now I want to expand. And then meeting my husband in 2006, he's an engineer, very business oriented. And he was kind of like, why are all your paintings piled up under your bed and in the closet?
oh,
It's like, we need to get them out. Like,
Oh.
let's show more people. Let's do things with this. And so I had already been doing like trade shows and getting out in front of the public with them. But his knowledge brought it to another level because his support has been huge. So when we have a show coming, he's right there with me. Okay, let's order the products from, you know, the gift line is Canadian Art Prints. And they produce everything in British Columbia. They've been around for several decades. And they found me online and said, we want to bring you in. We don't have anything like your work in our Indigenous collection. And with the Northern Lights and the Sky Dance series, again, that was another series that if I had been kind of like, I'm just going to do realism wildlife, that wouldn't have been born. That wouldn't have happened. That was inspired when I moved to Alberta in Fort Mac in 2008 and seeing the beautiful Northern Lights here. Same thing, trying to go to sleep at night. And, nope, here you're going to paint this, you're going to paint this, you're going to paint this.
Wow.
So next thing you know, like the eagles in the Northern Light and the wolves are out howling with the Northern Lights, and it's just magical. People connect with those pieces a lot, and they are sold all over the country. Again, I'm truly grateful for that opportunity. And then I did the Calgary Stampede for a few years, which is similar to this style. It's more modern, impressionistic compared to a realism style. I forced myself to go from teeny tiny brushes doing realism into big canvas, Big brushes, I think the smallest brush I used was maybe a quarter of an inch.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah, you can really
yeah.
brush strokes. Oh.
And you know, you move quickly, you move with a lot of paint, and it just kind of comes together and it has this energy about it. So I've sold a lot of pieces in this style to businesses and corporations as well because they like to bring that energy into their environment. So they go into their boardroom and they're like, oh, like I did a big grizzly bear running through a river
Oh,
and the
wow.
water's flying and it's coming full on like right at you. And a gentleman from BC who has a fishing lodge said, okay, I lived that experience right there.
Oh my gosh.
I am not leaving without that piece.
Oh, wow.
So it was a great, they're all big canvases. So yeah, they're pretty powerful. They're fun to paint too, and just moving that energy. So that came about. There's just different styles, and it depends on my feeling and motion. But right now, the metal art is what's moving.
Okay.
Metal is really popular right now too. It's got all that shiny reflection. People like that. Vibrant colors, movement, and then you can do really neat displays with it with lighting. So if you put interchanging light on the metal, it changes all the colors.
Oh wow. Okay.
So we did a big piece for an outdoor art exhibition here in 2020. And I think that's when I really got the opportunity to showcase my metalwork to the community. And it was right when COVID started.
Oh.
Yeah. So we had, it was the 2020 Ignite outdoor art exhibition. And generally they have artists create pieces and the community can come out and rally around it and come and look at the work. Well, we couldn't do that. And actually at the last minute, generally they had artists come from all over the province to do these, but they weren't able to do that year. So it was more just local artists. So we had like maybe a month to pull it together. It was a short,
Oh my
maybe
gosh.
4 to 6 weeks. And I remember thinking, okay, what can I do outside? And it's the metal. So the theme was winter solstice. So I did a pack of wolves in the big timbers and the shortest day. So the sun's going down. And the piece is called The Longest Hunt because wolves are nocturnal. They are active at night.
Oh, I didn't even know
Yes.
that. Okay.
So yeah, they're active at night and they like to, that's when they do their hunting. So, you know, they sleep a lot during the day and then that evening hours, they get moving, they like to move. So there's 9 wolves and they're quite playful. The 6 in the front look like pups. They're just having a great time. And 3 in the back are howling. But what we were able to do is I created it so that it was almost like 2 different paintings. One for the day and one for the night. And in Fort McMurray, we have really long, dark winters.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So when I created the piece, I was thinking, okay, during the daylight hours when the sun hits the metal and all of that grinding, it just glitters and looks like diamonds. And I actually added some glitter in specific spots too to highlight that and emphasize
That's
it.
awesome. Yeah.
And then the colors were put in and they're kind of transparent so you can see the grindings underneath too. So it looks like colorful reflections. So that's during the day. It's all glittery and as the sun's coming around. And then in the evening at night, we incorporated 6 different lights coming from 6 different angles and they interchanged their color. So at one point, the same wolf could be its fur because the angles of the grinding is from different directions. So wherever that light's coming from and it's changing, one wolf could have been blue, pink, and purple.
What?
And it looks textured and it's 3-dimensional looking and the depth, people were just so blown away by this piece. So
I'm literally hearing about it and I haven't seen it
yes,
and I'm blown away by it. Yeah, of course.
It was so popular. And the cool thing, I mean, this might be a benefit of the situation, making the best of COVID. The municipality's arts department, instead of having people come out and congregate around the art like they typically would, it was a drive-through art show. So this is at a time when everybody's kind of locked down. There's not much you can go out and do. So they do this outdoor art exhibition. And you can literally, like a drive-through, just drive by one exhibition, go to the next piece, go to the next piece, and the next piece, and then on your way out. and the cars were lined up, and people took their whole family out and could just park in front of it, and just from the side view, and everybody just look at it, and the lights kept changing on it, and people were just really mesmerized by it. And it was an honor to be a part of that experience. There were several hundred people that went through there. I think I had 800 likes on that post
That
on my page.
I can imagine that would be sound like
Yeah.
how did you feel, having seen so many folks kind of come through, see it, be mesmerized? Like, I know that it's always said that like shouldn't matter, your art's your art, but I imagine it must feel amazing to
It
have the
did.
community
Yep.
come out and just be like so mesmerized. Like even you describing it, I'm mesmerized. Like I said, I haven't seen it yet, and I'm like so fascinated. It sounds amazing. It sounds like something like you wouldn't want to miss,
Yes.
which is just like and again, like how did that even come to you? I mean,
Right.
like what, like
That was one again that I knew it had to be a winter solstice theme. I'm very natural at painting wildlife. It's my biggest strength. The Mohawk side of my family, Tyendinaga Mohawks, is the Wolf Clan. I've always had a natural ability. If I'm doing something new or big, I gravitate to creating a wolf or a horse every time. I just can do them like the back of my hand. I know how the fur moves, how, the wolf's scruff on the neck looks, the face, the features. It was pretty amazing to create the design concept, but it was even more rewarding and amazing to see the community embrace it and love it. And actually, that was a 2-week show. So then when we were finished and we had it on this big platform, you literally just picked it up and set it down. All the lights were attached to it. The art was there. And we're like, where should we move this to? And then the owner of Earl's restaurant reached out to us through Weigel, and he said, can we put it in front of the restaurant? Because I see that the community loves it, and we would like to keep it here for them to see all winter. And actually sat there for another year and a half, almost 2 years, in front of Earl's.
okay.
And now the piece is sold, so we've moved it,
Okay.
but it is staying in the Fort McMurray community. So I'm super excited for the permanent installation of this to happen. And when it does, there'll be an art unveiling, and we'll announce to the community where they can see it. But truly grateful to have that support.
Would love to know this because we've gone to the Earls here, and I was like, I never saw I would imagine from what you're describing, I would be like, oh my gosh. So I was
Yeah.
like, when you're saying, I'm like, okay, so it's moved, because
Yeah.
I was like, where? But that is not the only piece that has been there. There was another one that I very much enjoyed, and I believe it was a piece from 2020. Am I yes? No? Maybe so?
There's a few of them.
Okay.
So is it the airport one or the Bear in Buffalo?
There is one where it is.
Inside of Earl's?
Yes.
Yes. So that is 2020. So again, that piece is called Angels Among Us. And that piece was one of these pieces that was gifted to me. I remember 2020, like April, the end of April, the river breakup and the flooding starts. At the same time, we are in the midst of COVID.
Oh, geez.
And it was very scary. This is a community that, survived the 2016 wildfire here, and now here we are, COVID pandemic and record 100-year flood. Businesses were being consumed by water in that moment, and it was apparent that the hospital was possibly at risk. If our hospital had been flooded, the entire community would have had to evacuate again.
Oh, no.
So in those moments, people from all walks of life, all occupations, self-employed, unemployed, single moms, all cultures, everyone in this community just band together and showed up at the hospital sandbagging, hundreds and hundreds of sandbags. People were just working nonstop. It was intense. And we weren't sure how high the water was going to rise. It was coming up and coming up. It was quite scary. And I remember saying to my mom, and my husband he works in the municipality, and he was on the front line with organizing like how to maneuver through the situation with the city and the residents and the water coming. So he was out of the picture. He was busy with that. So my mom and I have 3 little kids.
Oh,
So I'm like, okay, I really feel like I need to go down there and help sandbag right now, but I have 3 babies, and my mom's like, you can't go down there. Just calm down. You know, let's ask for help. Let's pray. Let's, pray for the community. And I did. And I thought, I want to help. Like, how can I help? And that night I went to sleep and I closed my eyes, and before my eyes shows up this vision. And it's clear as I can see you right now. And it's basically the Fort McMurray Hospital. All of these frontline workers, volunteers, community members, every culture, walk of life you can think of is in this painting. For search and rescue, paramedics, doctors, nurses, police, paramedics, along with food services, just people, volunteers, site workers, everybody you can think of is there in this painting. And that's just what this painting was, and more that I'm not even able to name right now. There's so many details in it. And I just saw all of the community working together, and they're sandbagging, and they're working together, and they're helping one another. It was nothing but an outpour of love and support for the community, for each other. And you could see the feeling I was getting is that these are earth angels, and they're here helping us, and they're working. And it's like the love from the Creator, from God, is just pouring over all of them. And He's guiding everyone, but they are just pouring out their love and just kindness to help save, well, the community from evacuating. The people who were in the hospital, they were taking them out of the hospital, trying to get them to other hospitals, and just, it was chaos. And then COVID on top of it, and try to keep your distance but work together. And it was kind of in that moment, it was so powerful. I just felt like the Creator wanted me to capture that and put it on a canvas for people to remember and to see. And it turned out beautiful. The funny part, though, was I was isolating. I had 2 canvases available. This was a pretty complex painting to do on a small scale. So I had like an 8x10 canvas and a 40x60 canvas. So I was like,
night and day.
okay, you want this one to be big, right? And so I was like, yeah, let's do it. 60 hours later, it was done.
60 hours. My gosh. That's like, hearing that is just so like amazing. Not the flooding, of course, but like just that you saw that outpour of love, compassion, and then you were moved so much by like their love and how much they care about the community. And like Fort McMurray has been very interesting in that there is this sense, like, we're not from here, we're from Edmonton, but there's always this sense of like love, and people care about this community. And like, it's bizarre to say, because like you just get that feeling when you come here. But yeah, seeing that, like going to that Earl's, and I definitely saw that painting, and they're like, yeah, this is Amy. I'm like, wow, that's so bizarre. That's literally who I'm interviewing. That's like so interesting. And like seeing like so many of your pieces and artwork everywhere. Like it's interesting that you say you love the community, and kind of creating these pieces for them, but also can feel their love back. And
Yes.
I would like to let you know that like they were definitely on our case to make sure to get you. So it's like always reciprocated. So there's nothing more beautiful than kind of having that. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were very much like, you have to go talk to her. That's not even an ask, that's a demand. And we're like, of course, yes, if she'll have us, we'll gladly take her,
that's-
because I can't imagine like if we had even missed out on the artwork here. So before I keep teasing you about it, we're going to take a quick little break here and come right back and go over some of these awesome pieces with Amy. Welcome back, folks. Like I said, we have some pieces for you today. This one I was very much drawn to. it's beautiful, it's gorgeous. There's also, I'm noticing now with the lighting, there is these effective like glitter. Amy, what can you tell me about this piece in particular?
So this piece was inspired. I actually had gone to a healing retreat called the Hoffman process. And during that time, it helped me work through everything I had gone through with my dad with MS and the struggles and being angry about him, being angry at God for what I went through with that. And then I kind of went into a bit of depression after he died. I was 21 when he passed away, and it was pretty hard to navigate life. So someone told me about the Hoffman process, so I thought I'd go check it out. And basically while we were there, we went through and cleansed out all the pain and the hurt from deep embedded in our souls, and released it all, and then had it filled that void with love and compassion, and just embracing yourself and learning who you are. So this was a meditation that I walked through, where they spoke of what does the moment look like when you come to meeting the light, or the creator, or a higher power, or whatever that may be for you. And so I envisioned, and this is not necessarily me in this picture, it's just, I have just envisioned a female presence kind of at the gates or the stairway to the light and to the creator. And it was quite vibrant and a powerful experience through that meditation. So this kind of was like the feeling with the arms up and reaching out and just feeling all of that power and love, like just embracing it. And that's actually what the piece is called, is Embrace. And yeah, so like the warm tones, that warmth, the light, there's a lot of glitter in the rays of light. There's a lot of metallic paint in that bronze color. So again, if you play with lighting, you get that effect. It's pretty neat up on a wall when you see all that glitter. And also like the softness of the dress, you know, that's bringing in airbrushing as well. So, and the skin is, so it just, I think in this piece, I combined 3 different styles to create this effect and this look. But again, this was really vibrant in a vision form in my mind, and I could feel it like, you need to paint this. Because they didn't ask us to paint it. It was just an experience we had through meditation. So pretty happy. It's part of my life's journey into the light series.
That was very beautiful. I know the second that we saw it, like I'm just saying, wow, every time I see any piece that is here. No, it's fantastic. I can't imagine like you saw this, and then that's one. Yeah, and you're right about the dress. I like that it kind of it's so soft, and even the gesture that she kind of has is just so like calming.
Yeah,
you know,
just,
that's the biggest thing I get is like it's so like relaxed. I want to say like I feel like surrender.
Yeah,
it's just like, and you're like, yeah, it's immediately upon seeing it, I was like, oh, I can't wait to talk about it and just like show it to you folks. Like
that's one thing too, is I kind of have a base understanding of what I want it to represent in this piece, but ideally in the end, I just leave it. And I don't like to put a lot of description with my art because I want the viewer to connect with it. I want them to have their own experience. It may trigger something that they connect to deeply. I've had many people reach out and actually buy a print of this piece after losing a loved one, particular young females. So they are comforted by it, and I'm grateful to be able to offer them that.
No, that's wonderful. That's, oh wow. Yeah, I'm so glad that this was a piece that you made, because my gosh, yeah, it's beautiful. I can't help but keep looking at it. But we do have other pieces for you folks at home. What can you tell me about this one? This one is,
so,
oh my gosh, yeah.
So this is brand new. I just finished it this week. It's currently waiting to get clear coated. So this is aluminum. It's metal. Yeah, so the whole thing, so it's the same as the buffalo piece we were looking at. So I took the grinders and the air tools and I I designed this, sketched it all out, came back, and then literally it was like grinding and digging into the metal with the tools and moving along to get that shiny reflective result. And then I bring in my airbrush and I paint in a lot of the negatives in the background and the dark, and then bring in some, it's like a tinted color so you can still see the etching through it.
Yes.
So this looks very matte right now, but once the clear coat goes on it, all of this is going to look three-dimensional.
Oh,
it's gonna,
wow.
yeah, it's going to fire up a lot of depth. It's going to look almost lifelike when you see it. So the concept behind this piece is, this is a project that was a call to artists in our area, and they were looking for artists who could design custom public art benches.
Wow.
So this is actually going to be the back piece of the bench. Below the artwork will be a live edge slab that will be the back seat.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
then there'll be another piece that will be the actual seating area of the bench. And those are going to be, I'm going to take a grinder to those two and grind them down, sculpt them. It'll look the illusion of the animal standing on the riverbed. So the back of the bench where you lean against will have grasses, and then the seat of the bench will look like the river moving.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's...
So this piece in the center, I'll just grab this and kind of show you. So this is rough lumber right now. So this is going to come in and line up here.
Oh, wow.
And then
Okay,
I'm going to kind of sculpt this and shape this piece of wood. So I'll take the grinder, take all the edges off, bevel the edge in, and then I will let the grain do the talking in the wood, but I'm also going to airbrush and etch so it looks like it's an older tree, like a dead tree, and that the bear's actually up on it clawing it. So I'll smooth this in so there isn't such a depth difference between the bear and the wood, and it'll just kind of naturally attach in, so it gives more of a 3D illusion.
And that's all done by you?
Yeah.
Wow. That's,
Yeah. Now, for the base part, I did team up with a very talented contractor.
Okay.
So he's doing the structure of the bench, and I'm doing all the cosmetic parts of the bench. So we're working together to create these, and I can't wait to get them out there in the community.
That's amazing. I can't even... Yeah, like the fact that there's so many like kind of intricate and moving pieces to it is...
So how this came about is this is a pilot project that the community's doing. So they picked some of the outer lying areas of our community. So this was Sapri Creek. So I did a public engagement with the community. They spoke about different, all sorts of subjects that they wanted represented in a bench. And they spoke very passionately about their wildlife that they get to experience there as well. So I did 3 different designs, completely different designs, and they did choose the Call of the Wild design. So this is the primary bench. It will go out to Vista Ridge, so the community can view it there and experience it. And then I did a sister bench that is going downtown in the Kiem Community Park that they're building right now. So the downtown bench, I chose to use the black bear, the fox and the raven, because they are like our primary buddies here in town. Whereas out at Sapri, they're a little more out of town, so they see more like sightings of wolves and coyotes and maybe more of the bigger deer and moose as well. So yeah, they asked to incorporate these species of animals. So I was so excited to do that because I naturally just, animals are so fun for me. And I love I feel like their eyes, I'm able to represent their soul, their spirit through their eyes. And, you know, the Creator created all living things, and even the trees, the water, you can feel spirit, you can feel energy, you can feel movement from them. So be able to honor them all and represent that has been wonderful.
Like even
put this back.
You folks telling us about the local bear sightings, that's been a big recurring theme to us. Like, have you seen bears? And I'm like, what? So that's amazing to see. And like the level of detail and just even knowing which animals best represent each individual kind of piece is just fantastic. that's always great to see. And I noticed that you had mentioned wolves always kind of make their appearance in a lot of your work.
Yes.
So it's good to kind of see
Yes.
that kind of come through. And
I feel like the wolf is definitely my spirit animal, as well as the family is part of the wolf clan. So it's, I remember my great uncle Austin telling me, he's like, yep, we are the wolf clan. And he was kind of teasing about my aunt's shopping at, he's like, she's the turtle clan. I should have known that from the beginning. But yeah, so it's, that always stuck with me deep. I'm like, that's so good. It makes sense.
no, 100%.
Yeah.
Even noticing this wolf.
Excuse me, I'm
Oops,
just going
sorry.
to trade spots with you.
This wolf right here as well.
Yes.
That's
So that wolf is pretty special to me.
Okay.
And this is kind of like, so this was 2004. That's the year my dad
Oh.
died. So I was working on this piece, and it's called White Spirit, and I was about halfway through this piece when my dad passed away.
oh my gosh.
And I had to put it away for like 4 months. I didn't know if I was even going to come back to it. I stopped painting. I was just trying to survive at that point. So this is also the time where I was introducing airbrushing into my skill set and learning. So the background's airbrushed, and the foreground, like the wolf itself, it's nearly like pointillism. There's so many little pieces of fur, and I did every one of those with shadows and highlights, and it was like these tiny little brushes. I think that took about 4 months to paint. It's a 18 by 24. And so like his eyes, he literally watches
I was
you.
gonna say the eyes just
yes.
like, yeah.
Watches you walk around the room. It just follows you. And like, I remember finishing that piece and being, okay, Dad, I'm going to hold on to this one. This one's dedicated to your memory. And that's one I said I'd never sell the original of as long as I'm alive.
Oh my gosh.
Because it's so special to me. So yeah, it's the Arctic wolf, timber wolf, I guess, too. You can have white wolves, but he's a big guy, and I feel watching over me, and just that intense look to the wolf itself, and just like it's a protector.
No, that's
Yeah.
beautiful.
So,
That's
White
awesome.
Spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty happy with it.
No,
Very popular. A lot of people buy prints and cards of it.
Yeah, it just has that kind of
Yes.
like, the eyes have that intensity,
Yeah.
and it very much embodies the nature of the wolf, where you're like, this
Yeah.
is intense, and like seeing this in real life would be just so like, and the eyes are
Yes.
just perfectly like you said, like they follow you even now, like as Rekha's kind of moving
Yes.
around. It's like, yeah, it's that gaze is just
Yeah.
there.
You
So,
know, it's something I've seen wolves like in nature. Just, you know, for the most part, they're on their way. They're on their own journey, and they're not. If you don't bother them, they don't bother you for the most part. And I remember just feeling honored to have that experience, and really deeply spiritual moment for me, like a connection to nature. I just like a gift to have an interaction with such a majestic creature. I have a different feeling with them. Like it's something, because they usually stop unless they're stalking you out in the woods and you're on your own. Maybe that's different. But this, usually when I see them, they come out, they kind of look around, and then they just go off. And you're like, wow, what an honor,
yeah.
you know, a privilege. Versus Mr. Bear, who likes to show up and drag our garbage can around. And I'm like telling the kids, look outside before you go out, because we don't want to meet and greet.
That's right.
For the most part, if I see a bear from a distance, it's cool too. But these guys are like little tricksters up here. They like to be mischief makers. But as long as you keep your garbage away and out, like inside, then they'll go on. And we're all, as a community, trying to learn how to manage them now, instead of having them removed all the time. So it's like bear smart awareness. So we're figuring it out as we go.
No, that's great to hear that. Yeah, kind of working with nature instead of just like go away.
No, exactly. We've got to share our home here. So.
No. This piece and the one following it were two amazing ones. What can you tell me about this one? I know that you had kind of briefly talked to me about there is a different level to the trees depicted in this piece. Can you explain a little about that?
So this painting is called the Tree of Life, and so I just had this vision of this giant, powerful, almost a tree, like the way its roots are, like it could just stand up and walk and relocate itself on its own, and it's up on top of this. It's probably more like the foothills, like a mountain, and the beaming light just coming through it is just full of vibrant life. And the tree line down below is actually like our tree line. So if you look closely, it's a forest itself. So you can look into the trees, and it takes you on a journey. But yeah, it was just like this source of life and peace and serenity, in a hectic world sometimes, just to have an experience, a calming moment, moving and just feeling love, and like the rays coming right from the sky world, from the heavens, and just beaming peace and joy, and just a calming about it, but powerful at the same time. So it was a vision again that came forward after my time at the Hoffman process, and I just thought, I want to paint the Tree of Life. I feel like this is my rendition of it, my version of it, like how I pictured it being, and the vibrant colors. And again, I feel like the skyline and the greens are strongly
It's
influenced by the Alberta lifestyle, like the landscapes here in Alberta with the bigger skies and those springtime, early summer greens and those colorful skies just stood right out to me. So
it has like this air of like majesticness. I do love that you have like the highlight around it, so the tree kind of pops out from the background. I do have to say, and this might be super ignorant of me because I'm an artist, and I think I'm an artist myself, but I have to ask, is kind of, because I've seen it in a few paintings, and it's that calming ray of light. Would you say that is your artist's signature?
it could, in this style, I definitely, this piece, the Embrace, and several others are part of my Into the Light series.
Okay.
And so each one of those will have a beam of light that is, it feels healing.
Yes, that's the
Yeah.
exact word, yes.
Yeah.
I wanted to say calming, but there was a different word. I'm like, it's so, like just witnessing both, I just get this like serenity and just this calm kind of effect. So it's wonderful to have. And like I just love the difference between, vast sizes, and those are supposed to be like, which are already huge trees,
Right.
like the pine, but this one just
It's
dwarfs
giant,
them,
yeah.
in such the stature and everything. It's just, amazing. Even like through the various gaps here where the light is coming out. Oh, and there's also glitter as well there too. Yeah, I'm
Yes.
just seeing that as well.
It's
Wow,
just
that's-
like, it's almost like the Tree of Life gets its life source and form from the skies.
No, it's gorgeous. That's, this, for you folks at home, was a piece that definitely like immediately gravitated towards when it was pulled out. Rekha and I spent a good 10 minutes just staring and ogling it. But it also has a huge significance. And it's this piece right here. Again, it's just so wonderful. That beam of light kind of coming through is just so, again, it's the air of calmness, but I couldn't help but notice the very first thing that like immediately pulled me in was that there was all these individuals here and the orange upon them. What can you tell us about this piece in particular?
Okay, so this piece, I try not to get choked up when I talk about it, because there hasn't been a painting that I've done that I have cried through as much. Actually, most paintings I don't cry through.
Oh my gosh.
But this was extremely emotional for me to paint. So I'll just explain. The piece vision came to me shortly after the Kamloops discovery of the 215 unmarked graves. And, you know, this is something that has been among our Indigenous communities for many years. And many people just didn't pay attention to. And I feel like in that moment, these 215 souls blew the doors wide open and were brought into the light in that moment, no longer being hidden away. So I, again, did not sit down and think this up and couldn't think it up if I wanted to. I remember being devastated and heartbroken, as much of our country was in that moment as well, and continues to be. But I went to sleep again one night, and this was the strongest vision that came through to me. And immediately I could feel my heart racing. I could feel the Creator telling me, you need to paint this now. Like, you need to do this now. Like, stop everything else you're doing and paint it. At that time, so this was last spring, yeah, so a year and a couple months ago, and pretty much right after the discovery. Unfortunately, at that time, I was in a small home. I didn't have the studio space I do now. So as soon as we moved in the fall, I was finally able to start working on this very important piece. Excuse me. So the vision was the eagle with 215 children on her back. And I knew it was female. I knew it was a mother eagle. And the mother eagle is larger than the male.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
She can up to almost a full wingspan on the male. In the 7 sacred Indigenous teachings, the eagle represents love. And I saw the skies glowing like this. I saw the eagle full wingspan embracing all of these little souls. I saw this mother eagle who is lovingly and carefully carrying these little souls back to the spirit world, or back to heaven, back to love where the Creator waits. And I saw her fiercely protecting these little children. And when I was painting each one of these little children, I thought about them. I thought about what they went through, what they might have gone through, what their family might have faced, how, if that were me in that position, I have 3 daughters under the age of 10. I don't know how. There's no words. So I could feel the Creator using me as like a vessel for this. I knew immediately when I saw it that this is not for me. Mm-hmm. This is bigger than me. This is not meant for me to paint and keep myself. This is not meant for me to paint it and hide it away in someone's home who purchases it. This is bigger. So I prayed a lot through it too, and was open to any movement and energies that were positive about this piece, and ideas and concepts. And so what I'm looking at right now is, I think we will put the original into a museum so that many people can experience this. And we're going to research more about the museums we have in Canada, but it needs to go in the right museum. Mm-hmm. And we want people to be able to visit it and experience it and to see firsthand what you're seeing right now. From everyone who has looked at it, they either have a very emotional response, or they're silent, mm-hmm. or they just are very moved by the piece. So I know that there's more to this than I can even imagine, and we want to just put it out there and let it go as far as it will and let people experience it. So we're also working on right now building a national fundraiser.
Okay.
So this is a 30 by 40 inch canvas. We will be offering prints the same size, 30 by 40 inches, because I don't want it to be shrunk down where you don't see these little children.
No, of course, yeah.
That's what it's about. And they need to be seen, they need to be heard. And this piece, I feel, will encourage conversations, may inspire people to reach out and help, will be able to help teach, help start all sorts of conversations. And by someone purchasing a print and hanging it in their business or their office or their school or their, even in their home, even in a healing retreat, even there's more places than I could even think of right now. It will travel and spread message, and also I hope show people that love can come from this. Like we can move in a different direction. But so each print that is sold will be 30 by 40, and the print will sell for $600. And of the 600, 300 will go to charities for truth and reconciliation. So we're still figuring out how to do that bit. We may do it by province or by territory or by area. For people who support in a specific area, then the money will go to a charity in that area. We're just kind of ironing all that out right now. But again, praying a lot and asking for guidance. And I wanted to be used as a vessel for this. And I was obedient and listened. And I feel like we can help a lot of people by using this image and this painting.
No, it's in its own essence, it's like bittersweet in that I know that I can't imagine what seeing this, in its vision coming to you must have felt like, and very much like taking the time to put the paint to the canvas and kind of processing and working through it to bring it to life. And like you said, yeah, the feeling, like, I don't know, I had no words. I know that wow was kind of the first one until I kind of came close and saw the children, of course, and then it was like I was very much speechless. And yeah, it's like bittersweet. I love that the piece kind of exists and showcases this and makes them feel seen.
Yes.
But it's also you have to take into account that the unfortunateness of the piece itself too.
I often wonder as I was painting, working through this, like, what would have this little soul grown up to do, and how many people would they have impacted, and now they're impacting many, many, many people. I just thought, when that vision came forward, like, okay, wow, this is really big. I need to do this. I need to do it right. I'm just going to listen, guide me through it. And when it was all done and I stood back and looked at it, I cried. I didn't know how to respond either. And I don't know if it's up to me to put words to it. I feel like it's more like people are going to look at it, they're going to experience it, and the creator's going to speak to them directly. And they'll have their own experience and their own journey with it. And I simply am a vessel that put it on canvas. I want it to be used for good. And there are many different ways, I'm sure that it will. But for me, any way that I can help raise some money to help Indigenous communities in any way, I think this is the right way to go with this.
No, that's fantastic that you're like definitely doing that. Like, yeah, it's amazing to hear like the amount of care that you have towards like charities, and like that it's bizarre, like that sense of responsibility, and trying to make sure, because it's odd. I can't put it into words. I can't look away, but at the same time I also like knowing what kind of inspired it and why it came to be is also like I said, bittersweet is the best
Yes.
combination I can come
Yes.
up with in my limited.
It's a heartbreaking piece, but there's beauty to it as well. The
Gosh.
word that I'm hearing from most people are powerful.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
that's it exactly. And like I said, it leaves me very much speechless, and like I keep looking at it, and like I said, I look away, and it's beautiful, and that it's the kind of loving mother eagle kind of.
It really does reach through the camera too.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing is that I wanted one of the words that came to my mind was strong, but it wasn't quite right.
Yeah.
So when you said powerful,
That was the
makes more
exact-
sense because it's more than just strength.
Yeah.
Right. It's boldness.
Yeah.
It's it speaks to people and it really reaches through the screen here. And it was there was a point where I just had to pause in front of it because it was just so amazing to look at. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
This
know.
is
What do you say?
Yeah. What do I say? How do I even transition or move away or even get on, because I can't. It's just it's just beautiful. Thank you so much for having that and pushing through and making it happen. I can't imagine like not seeing this, and now it's like I feel like it's permanently like ingrained in my head now.
Yeah. If anyone is interested in purchasing prints, we are getting that ball moving now and have finally got the image done in the right format and are ready to start. We've already got orders in for prints. But you can reach out to my website and get in touch with me, and we will get the link put up there as soon as we're really ready to get moving on this. But it's www.amykeller.com. And you can get in touch with us that way, and then we'll help you get over to the Carried with Love Every Child Matters fundraiser.
No, that's wonderful. On top of this particular one, where else can folks is it the same site, and then what's your social medias as well?
Yeah, so also I'm on Instagram at Amy Keller Remp Art, and Facebook as well, Amy Keller Remp Art. You can reach out to me there. And again, we will be posting more about the link for this particular fundraiser as we get some of those charities lined up and the potential museum, and get this process moving forward to be able to help raise some funds for Indigenous communities.
No, that's wonderful. Amy, there are so many pieces here that I wanted to go over. Rekha has given me the signal that we've already gone over our segment here, but I am more than happy to have it end on this piece, because this piece is so powerful and wonderful. I'm so thankful that you took the time. Like, I can't imagine having come out here and if I had missed you and missed the opportunity to see your work, and just how much, like, just even ending it on this piece, I can see how much community means to you, and how much you're impacted by it, and like the influences that you have. Like, I am so glad, and even if he hadn't said your work was amazing back then, I am so glad that you pushed through and continue to do so.
Thank
because
you.
your work is just fantastic. Folks at home, be sure to check her out. If this doesn't move you, I don't know what to tell you. I think you need to get in touch with your emotions and, like, you know. But yeah, I was so very much moved. It's been fantastic interviewing you and talking to you, and just the passion that you have for your work and the amount of like drive and how you push through it and make them happen no matter what the kind of feelings and emotions that you're going through is fantastic to see. Very happy to have had you on here. Hopefully it was a good experience.
Yes, absolutely.
As well. But as always, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been Gabby, the G in RNG and the 780, and we'll catch you folks next time.